What is the first thing I'm going to, when I'm elected? Well, the first thing I'm going to do is actually examine exactly what I've taken over, because there's no doubt that the biggest challenge is going to be saving another 9% of the budget. So I've got to go back through the existing budget and see what's actually happened and what in reality is happening with the budget so far, because the whole budget process over the last 2-3 months has been an absolute mess. We've heard of things coming in and things going out. So first of all, I've got to be absolutely secure about the budget for this coming year. And I've got to start planning straight away for how we're going to cope with the overspends that are almost inevitable, particularly in children's services and adult health care. Those are the key issues for us. Along with that, I'm going to start immediately concentrating on how I can work with local businesses to produce more jobs for Torbay.
So the first thing I'm going to do, elected as a mayor, is I'm going to invite the councillors and when I plan the cabinet members down to the waterfront, and we're all going to get in a boat and we're going to learn to row together. Because my picture for the bay is somebody at the helm to steer and guide the bay through the financial storms coming, and it needs people in a boat rowing together for the good of the bay. So we're going to need to do a bit of practicing at rowing.
Big decision that's coming up is to find the money for Torbay's share of the South Devon Link Road, known also of course as the King's Kerswell Bypass. 5 years ago we were nowhere, we were not on a regional list, a government list, we weren't on any of the priorities. I fought this all the way through the region, meeting government ministers, but we now have to put in more money locally. It'll have to come to Cabinet immediately in June and then go through the full council in July. Councillors hold the purse strings. I can make the decisions within the budget and policy framework, but councillors ultimately control the purse strings. So number one will be to try and build support amongst the new councillors who are elected after May the 5th to work with me for the South Devon Link Road, which is the roadway for Torbay and South Devon's prosperity. So that really has to be number one on the list.
The first thing I would want to do, if elected, is to try and end the system where there is so much power vested in one individual, and to try and devolve some of that power back down to the council. There's lots of things that can be done under the current system actually to do that. So I think you have to start that process straight away from day one and just try and make it a completely different way of doing business, making it more open, more transparent, and much more inclusive. So that's probably my top priority.
When I become mayor, I will sit down with the Chief Executive Officer and go through my election address and make sure that we implement all the items as quickly as possible. Adult and children's services across the bay needs addressing, and more affordable homes need to be built in the right places. Regeneration of amenities across the bay is also an important area for me. To publicising Torbay across the country and internationally is equally got to be brought up and done in a professional manner. Car parking and charges are another issue which I feel is vitally important, which is strangling the towns of Torbay, so that will be addressed as well.
The first thing that I'm going to do when I'm elected on May the 5th is get hold of all the community partnership chairs. I'm going to ask them to email all their people within their communities and ask them what they want within their areas, and then prioritise all the issues that come back. We won't be able to please all the people all of the time, but at the end of the day it's about consultation, and that's what the town hall has to wake up and realise is important in this part of the world. We need to communicate with all those who pay their rates. We need to listen to what they want and to action as much as is feasible and is possible.
The first thing that I would do if I were mayor would be to look at some of the decisions that Nick Barr has taken. In particular, those which have been deeply unpopular with local people, to see whether some of these can be rolled back. Examples I'm thinking of are Churston Golf Course, where we've actually had local people having to rise up and take the council to judicial review. That cannot be right. We also have issues of building on our promenade. That is a fantastic open area and should remain so. However, we do need to move forward, and we need to move forward positively. We've got a fantastic tourism offer, and yet we do very little to market this internationally. Whilst it's important to have a national market, we need to look abroad to the markets of America and the rest of Europe. In particular, we've got Agatha Christie. Agatha Christie is a worldwide draw. We also have an international World Heritage Site with Geopark, and yet this is one of our best kept secrets. These are areas that I would concentrate on in early days of office.
The first thing I want to do when I'm elected is to make the mayoral position here in TalkTorbay more fully accountable to us, the people of TalkTorbay, and involve more local people and businesses in decision making. Following on from that, I'd actually like to do a full carbon audit of TalkTorbay Borough Council and set out the stall of what we'd like to do going forward in TalkTorbay. Obviously I've got a lot to learn about the mayoral position, and there's a programme of education for successful candidates immediately after the election, and I'm looking forward to participating in that.
If elected, one of the first things to be undertaken here is to sort out the blot on the landscape, which is the Palm Court. The building that is so tragically being damaged needs to be tidied up, cleaned up. It's one of the first things I think that's a priority to be done. There are many others. Getting our economy back on a decent footing again, creating new jobs. I want to form a TalkTorbay business manufacturing group. I think this is where the new jobs will come with the demise of Nortel, which was 20% of our GVA. We need to build that back into our economy. Tourism is a third of our economy, £450 million a year. We don't promote it enough, and I would spend £250,000 from the revenue reserve budget to market TalkTorbay over the next 2 years. We've got a good story to tell. Let's tell the people of this country what we can offer here. It's a good story. I'm proud of it. Let's do it.